Hello, my name is Isabel Gutierrez. I am a senior at North Carolina Central University. Here's my project on a comparison of travel time distance calculation versus Euclidean distance calculations as applied in the study of food deserts. I worked with and was advised by Dr. Timothy Mulrooney from the Department of Environmental, Earth, and Geospatial Sciences at North Carolina Central University. What is a food desert? A food desert is an area with limited access to healthy food combined with a poverty component. Through the use of GIS, Geographic Information Systems, one can map food deserts using Euclidean distance or drive time. What we looked at for this project was how do Euclidean distance calculations compare to drive time and drive distance when applied to the study of food deserts. For Euclidean distance, it's easy to calculate. You can use the ArcGIS near function. But for drive time and drive distance, it's a little more difficult to calculate, and you use the ArcGIS network analyst calculations. In order to do the drive time and drive distance calculations, you need to generate a network dataset with appropriate parameters such as speed and travel time. And there was a limitation of around 15,000 addresses for our desktop computing solutions. The methods we used for our project was statistical analysis, clustering methods, z-scores, and quintile mapping. For the statistical analysis, we used 292 block group centroids as healthy sources and 118 healthy food locations as destinations. Euclidean distance and drive time calculations were then calculated for each using the near and closest facility calculations. For the clustering methods, we used the Geddes-Ord GI formula, and it's a statistic that returns a z-value indicating a statistical significance of clustering in concert with a p-value assigned to an individual enumeration unit. The clustering method pretty much gave us hot spots and cold spots between the two Euclidean distance and drive time. For z-scores, z-scores were used to compare where each block group is in relation to each other against the mean. Calculations were done for Euclidean distance and drive time in ArcGIS to create a map showing the distribution of the z-scores. For quintile mapping, quintiles were used to create maps to compare Euclidean distance and drive time for a possible application of observing low income and low available BGs, which is commonly referred to as food deserts. The quintiles are created when the attribute, either income or availability, are ordered from greatest to least, and the lowest 1/5 of the values, which is 58 of the 292 block groups, were denoted as low income or low availability. The areas on the maps in purple represent food desert areas where low income and low availability overlapped. This overlap was calculated using the intersect GIS function, which finds regions in blue, low income, that are common with regions in red, low availability. Our findings were the cluster maps using hotspot analysis highlighted similar visual patterns in number of hotspots, but much more cold spots between the two maps. Z-scores were calculated and compared, and since Euclidean distance is measured in miles and drive time is measured in minutes, there were differences that existed between the two, but could not be spatially autocorrelated, and scatter plots between the two measures highlighted any correlation between the two. Using each method, low access block groups were combined with low income block groups to denote food deserts in Guilford County. Only 6 of the block groups coincided between the two maps, meaning that there were other block groups defined as food deserts for one technique versus the other. These differences in the use of one measure over the other can have profound impact on the representation of food deserts versus those who are truly food needy. And lastly, in the lower corner, you can see a map which is an example of Euclidean distance versus drive time. In drive distance, the Euclidean distance is represented in yellow, and you can see that it's very straightforward, straight line, point A to point B, while drive time and drive distance is not as straightforward. You see some curves and turns there. Thank you for taking time to listen to my presentation, and let me know if you have any questions.